atrociously bad day out there. The weather has just been, I mean, we're in the middle of a storm called Eunice, but it's nice in here. You join me behind the wheel of a 2014 Mercedes-Benz C-Class Coupe. I've been quite excited to get behind the wheel of one of these because it's basically the new version of my own car, which is the old CLK. This model is the C250 CDI, which is the 2.1 litre diesel, 201 horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds, which is great for this car really. Very punchy puffance. When I put my foot down, it just... Oh yeah, it's got some shove, it's got some diesel torque. Okay, it's a diesel, so it sounds alright actually for a diesel, but sound is not its forte. Other engines available, the C180 petrol, which was 1.6 and has 154 brake horsepower. There was also a fairly unusual 3.5 litre V6. They seem to have sold a lot less of those V6 petrols than they used to. I probably quite like that car myself because I need that petrol noise. I need that petrol V6 noise behind a car like this. And then of course you had the AMG C63, which was just a whole nother beast. And maybe one day I'll get one of those on the channel. You could get the coupe of it with a manual gearbox, 6-speed manual, but this particular car, as with many of them, it's the 7G tronic 7-speed automatic, and it's as smooth as you like. Oh god, it's like a massive flood. So as I was saying, you've got the flappy paddles on the steering wheel to change gear. It changes gear buttery smooth. For a Merc, you want the auto. That's what I would get anyway. That's what I've got with my old CLK. Standardly, the car's rear-wheel drive, like any proper Mercedes-Benz should be. I quite enjoy rear-wheel drive cars, and it's not because I like getting the tail out or doing any sort of mischievous driving. I'm not really into that. But I do like the just general feeling of the propulsion coming from the back of the car, pushing you along rather than pulling you. At lower speeds, the steering is really, really light. It's not what I expected coming from my CLK, which has quite weighty steering. What they've got is they've got speed-sensitive steering that weights up the faster you go. So once you get into a quicker corner at 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, the steering doesn't feel quite so light. When you're meandering around town in this, it's very easy to manoeuvre, and the car is actually quite relatively narrow, so it feels very easy to sort of place and position in town and manoeuvre. The wing mirrors are massive, and despite having 18-inch alloys, the ride is pretty comfortable. And it's obviously on the sporty side for Mercedes-Benz. My old CLK has the handbrake that you put on with your foot and take off with your hand, and I was thinking surely by the time this baby came out they'd have gotten rid of that, but no, it's still there. Now, I actually don't mind it. It's quite nice because it frees up the centre console from a traditional handbrake, but of course nowadays an electronic parking brake would do that. It's a terrible day to be testing a car's handling, but it's got adaptive dampers that stiffen up if you're making, as Mercedes would say, an evasive manoeuvre, or you're doing some spirited driving. The suspension firms itself up and helps keep the car flat through the corners. You get best of both worlds with the car, really. This is the AMG Premium Plus, and it's got all sorts of nice kit on it. Heated sporty bucket seats that hold you in around the corners. Auto dip headlights, which is quite a cool feature to have. And you've also got the system that reads the speed limit signs and shows them up on the dashboard. As well, of course, as all the standard sort of nice things that you get on these sorts of cars, like auto headlights, a dim rear view mirror, dual zone climate control, sat nav. And it's also got the full panoramic roof, which runs all the length of the car. So this car with the diesel engine, it weighs 1,660 kilos, which is a bit on the porky side, really, for a car. A 320 coupe, for example, was around about 1,400 kilos. So it's got a couple of pretty heavy blokes, extra weight sat in it. Because it's a Mercedes, I'll let it off that. It's a bit like the Apple iPhone's always been heavier than it should be, and it's made of glass and metal and stuff, and it weight kind of gives a feeling of luxury to a car. Actually known for being fairly reliable. Now, I would say that, as with any Mercedes-Benz, you should get it serviced exactly when it needs to be serviced, when they recommend. Try and get it done at a Mercedes-Benz specialist, and touch wood, although there's no wood in these modern Mercs, they should be pretty reliable. Now, Stuart, who owns this car, thanks Stuart, he's only had it for a short while, but he's done 5,000 or 6,000 miles and it's on to 75,000 now. He's not had any issues so far with it. They did also make the E-Class based on the same platform as this car. I think that was aimed at older buyers, and this coupe, this C-Class, is aimed at younger buyers. Now, in Mercedes-Benz eyes of that era, a younger buyer was 35 plus, so depending on how old you are watching this, that's going to sound either old or young, or maybe, if you're me, about right. But the seats are not really that adjustable, not in terms of like the ergonomics of you for your back and stuff. They're electronically adjustable forward and backward and up and down and all that, but I don't think I can change the lumbar support or anything. There's a bit of a hefty blind spot at the back, so when you're trying to reverse out onto a road from a driveway or something similar, you've got quite a big, in the C-pillar area, you've got quite a big blind spot. So it's got those parking sensors that give you a sort of visual indication of distance. Something that slightly disappointed me with this car. Now, you probably wouldn't have even thought about it, having if you've not come from the car I have. It doesn't have frameless doors, so there's a frame around the top of the window. It doesn't have the missing B pillar as well, so you don't get that nice open feeling when you wind all the windows down, but most cars don't have that, so you probably wouldn't miss it. Time to have a quick look around the cabin and look at practicalities and things. Two nice big cup holders that fit the fat bottom bottle just fine. I've got this centre console here which flips open with an array of knots. Inside you've got a USB port. You've got a little cubby in the centre console with a 12-volt socket under it. There's not loads of storage space, so the side pockets are very narrow and small. And then the glove box has got quite a small lower part and then an upper shelf that you can just fit a few things in. The infotainment system that you get with the screen and everything, obviously it's slightly dated now compared to the latest things, but as per all these luxury brands like Mercedes and BMW and Audi, they're usually ahead of the time with it, and this is no exception. It's pretty good, and I like how you can control it with the rotary dial down here. I also really like the way they've integrated the central screen as a circle into the main dial. It's much more sleek and sophisticated than the equivalent where they just have a square or a rectangle. It's got a DVD player on it as well. I wonder what happens if you try and drive with the DVD on. Oh no, yeah, no, it's gone. In order to not distract you from the traffic situation, the picture is faded out while the vehicle is in motion. Oh, you can even enter a website into this thing, URL. I'm going to put one in and see what we get. Ah, no telephone connected. The idea of going on the internet on this screen though, instead of just nowadays, I mean even then, 2014, just pull out your smartphone and Google it. It's funny how quickly technology dates, isn't it? You might be wondering whether this car is any good for adults in the back. We're going to find out. For that, I will ask backseat JJ, what's it like in the back, mate? I tell you what, mate, it's not actually as bad as I thought it would be. I can't sit up properly, so I have to like push my pelvis forward a bit so I can fit in. But the leg room's all right. Yeah, you could fit smaller adults back here, or children. Otherwise, yeah, you've got like climate vents back here, and you've got these cup holders, like a big one and a little one, which is quite strange. There is something else you forgot to mention as well, JJ, and I noticed it while I was back here. The airbag sign. So this car is a very safe car. It's got 5-star Euro NCAP rating. It's got 9 airbags as standard, which is a lot of airbags. So kind of turn into a bouncy castle in here if you have an accident. So with it being a coupe, you might not be that interested in practicality, but it does have a pretty decent sized boot that's actually bigger than a lot of hatchbacks. But of course, it's hard to get. It can be more difficult to get things in the narrow slot when you open the boot. But the space is there, and also the seats fold down as well, so you can fit long items in, and they all do that. They're all 60/40 split fold. It's not a completely unpractical car by any means. It's a relaxed and refined ride on the motorway as well, so if you want to cruise in this car you can. It's got its armrest here, its armrest here. The steering's nice and easy to keep the car on track, and it's not twitchy, and cruise along, and it's relaxing. I don't always remember all cars coming out, and I don't remember necessarily seeing them on the road for the first time, but I do have a particular memory of seeing a 2011 C-Class Coupe in red, and I just remember seeing it and thinking, that's my sort of car. I think Merc had really sorted out their styling. I don't know who they fired and employed to design the C-Class Coupe, but it's a great looking car. In silver they look good too, because Mercs are kind of good in silver. Silver's fallen out of favour recently, but I'm a big fan of silver on a Mercedes. If you've got a car you'd like to see on the channel, let me know. You'll see the contact details below. It all adds up to a pretty good all-rounder as far as I'm concerned. So yes, I'm a fan of this car, and it's definitely like basically a more modern and improved version of my old CLK. If for some reason you are interested in the old CLK as well, and it's a toss-up buying one of these or one of those, then be sure to check out the review of it up here. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.